Hi guys, my name's Katrina and I made this YouTube to share my 14 and pregnancy story. I'm currently 14 and my baby is 3 months. He was born 13 weeks early. I was supposed to have him in June, but I had him in March. But anyways, let's get into this video. Today I'm going to be talking about my labor story and how I found out I got pregnant. I found out I was pregnant because I missed my period and I had a regular period. It came around the same time every month. So I kind of already knew when I missed my period the first time. Well, I didn't worry about it. I just brushed it off my shoulder. I was like, okay, it's fine. Let's just see next month. Well, I missed my period again the next month. So I texted my cousin and I was like, hey, can you bring me a pregnancy test? And she was like, yeah. So she brought it a few days later to school. I didn't take it. I just threw it away. And I was like, I'm not pregnant and all this stuff. So I just didn't take it. I was like, there's no point in taking this test. Well, then a few weeks went by and I was having morning sickness and all this stuff, and I was like, well, maybe I need to take a test and see so I know. And then so at school I took the test during first period, and when I took it I just waited a minute and waited till the lines popped up. Well, there was 2 lines pregnant, 1 line not. Well, there was 2 lines, but one of them was faded and I didn't know if that still meant you were pregnant. So I was just like, I don't know. And I put it in my backpack, and then the second period came around and my friend asked me and I told her, and she was like, go take the other one and see if it comes back the same. So I went to the next period and I went and took the test and it came back the exact same. But while I was taking the test, my friend was reading the paper and she saw in the paper that it said even if the line is faded, you're still pregnant. So then she told me that and I was like, okay, we could just see what this is. And we went to the room and then we looked at the test. It was the same thing. So after that period I told my boyfriend, but we really weren't surprised because I already knew and I already had a feeling because I never missed my period. Well, I didn't tell my mom or anything. I just was like, okay, I'm just gonna wait to tell her. Well, then I was sleeping one night and she went in my backpack to get something and she saw the test. She woke me up and she was like, what is this? And I was like, oh, I pranked my friend at school and all this stuff, and we were just doing a prank. This ain't a real test, it's fake. And she was like, you better not be pregnant. And she was just yelling and stuff. And then the next day passed and she was like, Katrina, are you pregnant? And I was like, no, that's just a fake test and all this stuff. Well, then after a few weeks she just kept saying, you better not be pregnant, you better not be pregnant. Well, stuff has passed and I'm still throwing up and all this stuff, and I was like, it's time for me, I need to go to the doctor. So then I texted my friend and I was like, can you text my mom and tell her because I can't do it? And she was on the bus when she did it, and my mom called her and was like, is this true and all this? And she was like, yes. Well, then I got home and my mom called me and she was like, you're not doing this, you're not ruining your life, and was just yelling at me and crying, and she was like, no, you're not doing this. Well, after that she didn't talk to me for 2 days. She just ignored me. She was so mad and no one knew why she was mad. She was just being rude to everyone. Well, then one day she just acted like nothing happened. She got in the car and she was talking to me regular, and she was acting like nothing was wrong. Well, then on Christmas break when I had went to the doctor, I was already 16 weeks pregnant, and I got my ultrasound the first time. I found out I was having a boy. Well, after that I just kept going to appointments and everything was fine and all. Well, one night I had these pains in my stomach and we ended up going to the doctor for it, and they told me that it was ligament pains. I was just growing. So a few weeks passed and the same thing was happening, but it was happening in my lower stomach, and it was 5 o'clock in the morning, and I told my mom. My mom was like, lay down, let's see how it gets. And I kept peeing that night, but I didn't know because I kept waking up. I would go back to sleep and wake up, so I really didn't know how frequently I was peeing. Well, after that I had told my mom I was still hurting, and she was like, okay, let's put a heating pad on you and let's see how it goes and see if it gets better. Well, my pains are stopping and going and stopping and going, but I didn't believe I was in labor because I was only 27 weeks. And my mom was like, okay, we need to take like halfway to the doctor. I got these pains and I felt like I had to poop. So I told my mom and she was like, oh my gosh, and she started freaking out, and I was like in labor then. Then after that, she didn't even make it to the hospital. We went to this emergency room and they took me out and they were like, you can't have your baby here, your baby's too early to have him here and you need to go to the actual doctor. Well, they called the hospital and told them that they need to come get me on the ambulance, and they were like, we'll be there in 6 minutes. And the emergency room was like, no, we need to be there way faster than that. So they took me on their ambulance truck, and it had a broken door on the back of it, and the guy was holding the door while the other guy was driving. Well, then they were sticking all this stuff to me and that I didn't even need because I was getting out the truck in like 2 minutes, and I was just mad because all this sticky stuff got on me for no reason. Well, I ended up going to the hospital. I don't really remember going, and I was in pain. I wasn't paying attention. And before the doctor had came, they were just like pushing my legs together and saying, you cannot push, you cannot push. And I was like, well, my body is like making me push. And I wasn't crying or anything. I was just like mad because they were telling me I couldn't push and it hurt. So after that, my doctor finally arrived. He was at home, so they had to call him. Well, when he arrived, I was like, I need to push like right now. They didn't have anything on me. I didn't have an ultrasound machine to see how the baby was coming out or anything. I was just like about to have this baby, whether he was coming out the wrong way or not. So the doctor was like, we have no time. They ended up getting an ultrasound machine, but it didn't work. So they were just like, forget it. I didn't have anything on me at all. So they didn't know what to do at this point. So when the doctor came, he immediately broke my water. And I had the baby like within a minute. I pushed like 2 times and he was out. So since he was born so early, they took him immediately on life flight. They did not keep him at the hospital with me. He was not there. He ended up staying in the NICU for 78 days. So yeah, but that's a different story. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.